Hello everyone and welcome back to the Carousel of Progress Let's Build. This is episode 8, I think. I'm pretty sure this is episode 8. I have completely lost track. That's because it's been far too long since the last episode, and I do apologize for the lengthy amount of time between now and the last time you saw one of these videos. A combination of lots of schoolwork, vacation, lots of things holding me up, but today is the final episode of the Carousel of Progress Let's Build, and yeah, we finished the last scene in one episode, surprisingly, and I've kind of just been working on it for all the time. I haven't been editing videos. I've just been kind of grinding this out, seeing how things will kind of come together, and yeah. So the last scene, I came to the decision that I was going to do my own thing. Most of this ride has been a recreation up to this point, but I felt like I wanted to put in a little bit of my own flair on the ride and not just have an exact uncreative copy of what already exists. So this final scene is my custom 1960s scene in which the family is sitting around the television and they are going to watch the moon landing. That is going to be the climax of the ride and the kind of final show of the progress that has gone on throughout the years shown in the ride. So a lot of strange 60s modern architecture can be seen in this episode and in this scene. It was very different from the other scenes. There's not really a flat wall where everything takes place. It's really more of an open house type layout. So yeah, it was pretty fun to do something completely different from the other scenes. And actually the real ride is like this as well, where the last scene is more of just a modern house of today. Here we're building a really nice modern couch type thing. Came out really well. It could even be used in other buildings that aren't Carousel of Progress, unlike most of the furniture and different pieces in here. This one isn't too extreme as far as size goes, and it looks pretty nice actually. That was surprisingly one of my favorite parts of the build. You saw at the beginning we spent forever on that TV, which was a pretty big nightmare to put together, but yeah, the couches also came out nice. Here you can really see the scene starting to diverge from the other ones with this large kind of rounded glass, what do you call that? A rounded glass window? Sort of window doors that look out into the backyard. One of these 60s corner fireplaces that were the big rad thing to have. Because everyone was sitting down watching the TV, I thought they'd probably want to have some snacks, so we have some Coca-Cola is what that little fireworks thing is supposed to be. You'll see, I think I've put a few of those around. And then we're just building some more little tables to hold stuff up. This one started off weird. I don't really know what I was doing with these ornaments, but it ended up looking alright. And if in this episode you suddenly see things change out of nowhere, like this ceiling's about to change right there, that's because I had to cut out a lot of stuff for this. As it turns out, this episode is only about 11 minutes, which is shorter than the other ones, even though the amount of time I spent building was far longer. But it was one of these where I just kind of hopped on now and then, did some stuff, a little bit of building off camera, and I really just put in the things into this video that I think are the most interesting and the things you really need to see of kind of clever ways I did things or things that I really wanted to show. So don't be too worried if some things aren't shown. I just wanted to keep it short, sweet, and not bore the entire audience to death this time. I wasn't totally happy with this carpet. I couldn't really think of anything else to use other than these funny wafer pieces, but came out alright. Now we decorate the coffee table with some nice books. There's a lot of trial and error. Things show up, things disappear, things get a new paint job, and that's just kind of why this took so long. Here we put in some roof support wooden beams. In almost all the reference pictures I saw for 60s households, they all have these wooden support beams. You'll see that I put them into the fireplace here. I don't think that would be very smart in a real house, but I'm going to just say whatever, and it's good enough. Because as long as it looks good, it's not a real house. I don't think anyone will be too bothered about it. Here we're just turning that couch into a single chair, where the grandma, as seen in the other scenes, will be sitting, also watching the TV with the family. And I'll consider putting these couches and chairs and furniture up on the workshop just in case anyone wants them. I'm not promising that I will, but I will consider it. This is a fun thing I made, these little power outlets. And then I just hooked a bunch of the appliances up. So here you can see me plugging in the TV using this wire, which is an actual nightmare to try to get it to look right. But eventually we get it. Kind of just had to hide it into the wall a bit. Here's another thing that's going to change. You see those lights hanging down look pretty weird, and later I do go and change them. Here we're putting in some, maybe they're ottomans, maybe they're footrests, but right now they're being used as snack tables. So everyone's got a Coke and a little bowl. I'm presuming maybe popcorn would be in there, or whatever snack you so desire. Here we're using the Chinese lanterns from the World's Fair pack, a pack that I do not typically use pieces from, to make some modern shelves. I didn't see anything exactly like this in the reference pictures, but it definitely captures the 60s crazy try-anything architecture. And now you can see suddenly a bunch of progress has happened, but don't worry about it, it's all fine. Here we're making a nice telephone using 2 snowman pipes. This was another thing I really enjoyed building. It's simple, you don't really see it that much from the ride, but I think it's a fun detail that I'm really glad I got in here. You'll see we put a bunch of detail into the dialing part of it, where you like put your finger in and go and like turn the thing. Not sure what that's called, but we use some firework pieces for that, a box light, and then we put the little bumps on there with the billboard brackets. And I think this came out really well. Super happy with this simple detail that you don't really see, but if anyone decides to go snooping around, look for stuff like this in the ride, I wanted to make sure that I had kept up the level of detail that was seen in the other scenes. And you'll notice off camera we also put in some shelves above the TV, some wood, and then that clock, which is the same one from the 1920s, just copy pasted in. Here we're redoing the lights. These came out so much better than the ones I had before. I'm really glad I decided to change it. Super simple, just one of these half egg shaped art pieces, and then one of the round spoopy lights sunken into it. Just filling up with some clutter here. I thought these boxes looked a little empty. I don't know what else to really put up there. All I could think of was some random stuff. Here, we're using a wafer cookie macaroon. We're using a macaroon to be the moon out that you can see out the window. And I thought that'd be kind of clever. Since they are watching the moon landing, why not have the moon prominently featured out the big glass window/door area? So I did that. I put in some porch furniture, put in some trees and some grass, and that was that. Now remember, this ride is indeed a 4K blueprint. So at this point, I have half of the scene not built, and I have about 100 pieces to finish it off. So you can imagine that this kitchen is not the finest thing I've ever built. It is lacking in detail, lacking in style, but it's not really lit up in the scene that much. The main focus is on the center part, so that's what I decided to do. Here we are at the cinematics. I want to thank everyone for the continued support of the series. Again, sorry for the massive break between episodes, but really proud that we finished this build. We got a great final result, and I'll be working on getting the show up and running, getting that audio done, and getting a POV to you guys as soon as possible. Thank you for watching.